Bitcoin, at $5 for Etoro's treasury. We were the first regulated company in Europe to launch cryptocurrency trading at $5. $5? $50,000 became $50 million before my board told me I have to sell it. It's not our business. Vitalik, the founder of Ethereum, actually was in our offices before Ethereum. That board? Maybe. But really an amazing experience seeing crypto from where it was to what it is today. I think nobody doubts that crypto is here to stay. It's a new type of capital markets thriving around the world. Outside the US, we have more than 130 different crypto assets trading. But nonetheless, we are passionate about capital markets and the stock markets. So at the dinner with Warren Buffett, he actually convinced me to focus more on stocks and less on crypto. But we love both. Last year, 25% of our revenues were crypto and 75% were stock markets. Our customers from all around the world buying stocks from more than 20 different stock markets.
Now, you know I normally don't do this, but I had to say something directly after this clip. Etoro said that they bought Bitcoin at $5. That's not the point. The point is, what was Vitalik doing in the room? Now, Etoro, of course, is an Israeli company. We know Vitalik is Russian, but of course claims his home base as Toronto. This definitely opens up a rabbit hole. But let's get into the video.
Mastercard now teaming up with crypto startup MoonPay to enable stablecoin payments with Mastercard cards. This is a huge development in the world of stablecoins. Join us right now, first on CNBC from Toronto, is MoonPay's founder and CEO, Ivan Soto-Wright. Good morning to you. Just because some folks may not understand what this all means, break down the technology here. So Mastercard, well, I won't even do it. You do it, Ivan.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me again. It's great to be back on the show. From our perspective, we think stablecoins are a really big deal. It's actually quite personal for me. I'm half Venezuelan, and there are people all around the world that receive money from the United States. This is a new technology layer. Stablecoins are dollars on a blockchain. Anyone with an internet connection, anyone with a phone can receive money in the form of the US dollar at the speed of light, the speed of the internet. And from our perspective, we want to see this embedded everywhere. The next logical step for us was, okay, there's 120 million unique wallet addresses that have stablecoins, 30 million active users. How do we make that possible for them to spend those stablecoins? Logical next step was with Mastercard. They've been a phenomenal partner. We've been working with them over the past couple of years. Shout out to Michael and Sherry, the president over at Mastercard, to bring this to life. But we want to make this more accessible. MoonPay has been about building the backwards compatibility of the existing financial system. So this made a lot of sense. I think cryptocurrency wallets are going to be embedded everywhere. It's ultimately a new internet native technology. If you think about the legacy system, we had all these financial systems in different parts of the world that didn't communicate with each other in a shared language. Blockchains are that shared language. Stablecoins sit on top of them. And so we think it's going to be a natural next step that every single financial institution recognizes its importance. And so that was part of the reason last time I came on the show, we acquired Iron, which was a developer platform to bring APIs, bring really simple to easy to use infrastructure for any business to embed stablecoins.
In terms of how, though, this fundamentally disrupts the banks or the traditional financial system, I mean, here you have Mastercard doing this. At some level, is this going to cannibalize any part of their business?
I think this is like a natural evolution. So we've seen technology leaps. This is the next technology leap. Everyone's going to recognize that internet native money movement. It just needed to happen. The next generation, my generation, isn't going to put up with days and very costly expenses for moving money around. Traditional remittance providers would charge up to 6% if you wanted to move money from the United States to another country. You can do this at a fraction of a penny with a stablecoin. And so from our perspective, the best technology will ultimately win, and our job is to democratize it.
What about tracking money? So the government has an agency called FinCEN. People don't talk about it that often, but really does try to look for money movements that might be suspicious or nefarious or things like that. Once you move into this world, how regulated is it? How unregulated is it? And does it need to be policed?
Yeah, well, I'll say I think it's actually far safer on the blockchain. There's incredible companies, Chainalysis, Elliptic, a bunch of these blockchain analytic firms that enable you to track transactions on a blockchain. So I'd argue, there have been a lot of arguments around nefarious activity in crypto. It's actually a relatively small proportion. We're talking under 1%. And the reality is it's much easier to track down all this activity over a blockchain than it is through the traditional financial system.
How do you feel about meme coins and all of the other sort of coins that are now out there? Is that helpful to you, or is that giving the whole world that you live in a bad name?
I think we need to zoom out for a second. If you think about this industry, we did not have regulatory clarity for some period of time. A lot of assets have been speculative, but I think the next generation that we're going to see within the crypto economy is productive assets ending up on chain. We'll see stocks, we'll see bonds, we'll see all these traditional financial instruments ending up on chain. And so we can think about meme coins as an experiment. It's a toy, but this is going to evolve into something much bigger.
Coinbase stock sinking on news of an SEC investigation. Tanea McKeel is here with more. This company's been in the news a lot this week. What do we know about this?
Yeah, big week for Coinbase, Scott. The company confirming the SEC has been investigating whether it has misstated its user numbers. The inquiry focuses on the number of verified users reported by Coinbase. The New York Times reported this afternoon Coinbase has claimed as more than $100 million 100 million verified users in various securities and filings and marketing materials. Paul Graywall, their chief legal officer, explained in a statement that was shared with us that includes anyone who has verified their email address or phone number with Coinbase, so the number may overstate the number of unique customers. Now, the investigation began during the Biden administration, which Graywall also points out that administration was famously hostile toward the crypto industry and has continued under the Trump administration's, of course, more crypto-friendly SEC. Graywall also said this is a holdover investigation from the prior administration about a metric we stopped reporting 2.5 years ago, which was fully disclosed to the public. While we strongly believe this investigation should not continue, we remain committed to working with the SEC to bring this matter to a close. Shares taking another leg lower on this story, already under pressure after this morning's reported hack, Scott.
Yeah, so much for riding the high of being added to the S&P 500, which Brian Armstrong just yesterday was talking so highly about, and what it meant for, in some respects, the credibility of not only crypto, but this company. And
welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Mastercard and MoonPay partner. Now, don't forget, guys, last month it was all about Visa. Now we're on Mastercard. Remember? The banks are not going anywhere. They're just going to implement these digital assets technology. And what does he say? Stable coins are dollars on blockchain. And guys, with smart contracts, they can tell you what, when, and how to buy. And you have 3 to 6 months to spend it or poof, it's gone. And we know that is biblical. And then, of course, he says wallets are going to be integrated everywhere. And once we get stablecoin regulation, we already know they have the wallet technology. Well, only thing they have to do is attach it to the consumer's bank account, and they won't even know they're using stablecoins. That's the thing about it. The consumer will have no clue. And that's why it's so important for you to understand the technology now. And blockchain is definitely the ledger that tracks everything. A criminal would be a fool to use it. Guys, cash is untraceable. And again, that's the reason why it's so important for you to understand this technology, because privacy is going to be the new gold. Those who understand the technology are going to be able to make a payment without anybody knowing, using this technology, using stable coins. The consumers will never have a clue. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have the SEC going after Coinbase again. Guys, you can't make this up. This is nothing but a movie. Just sit back, get your popcorn, and let it play out. Because believe me, before they add a stock to the S&P 500, they're going to investigate the company. And Coinbase went public April of 2021. So they've been on the stock exchange for over 4 years. And we know Goldman Sachs has his hand all over Coinbase. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And AI agents reading through all your data, giving analysis. But guys, what if that information is hacked? And you know how I feel about hacks. Remember, what he was explaining when it comes to these AI agents being able to read analysis, explain it to you, and you don't have to worry about paying 5 to 20 people to do the same thing. And the only thing I have to do is go to Facebook. You know, if you're a detective, you're a cop, you don't even have to do anything anymore because you see on Facebook, they're giving you an analysis of comments under whatever topic you're doing. So the only thing you have to do is go and just read the analysis. It's right there in front of you. They're not hiding anything. The only reason why you would go read the comments if you want to get a good laugh. Other than that, I was definitely reading through all the comments and giving you analysis. That should scare the heck out of you. But we know the people stay distracted on things that don't matter. They're not even paying attention. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have the mainstream media keep you distracted on things that don't matter. So therefore, you're not saying your life is about to change. We saw Trump making his moves. We saw Xi making his moves. But at the end of the day, America is about to change because they're about to devalue this dollar. And that means that 70 to 80% of the people, life is about to change. And unless you're part of the wealthy or the elite, your standard of living is about to change. And that's the reason why you prepare for what's about to come. Because you're seeing the rich, their money is sitting in these money market accounts. That's the reason why you have trillions and trillions of dollars sitting in the money market accounts, because they're not going to gamble with their money. They're smart enough to sit on the sideline and be ready to buy things pennies on the dollar. And we know that's exactly what Warren Buffett is looking to do. And speaking of Warren Buffett, he sells Bank of America, all of Citigroup, Capital One, T-Mobile. And again, Warren Buffett is sitting in all this cash for a reason. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And then we have housing affordability. Only 21% can afford a home. And I think it's lower than that. And remember what the crypto teacher told you. We're going to start getting mass layoffs, and the housing is going to plummet. If you're able to sit back, and remember, everything is timing. Warren Buffett says sit back and you'll watch the impatient money move over to the patient money. And that's exactly what's going to happen in housing. Housing is going to plummet. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And Dick's buys Foot Locker for $2.4 billion. And I've been over so many consolidations in the Patreon, but this is definitely a big one. Hasn't been the biggest one, but this is definitely a big one. Because majority of your shoes are going to be bought from Nike.com or Dick's. It's one or the other. You cannot make this stuff up. And remember, I'm an old man. And back in the day, they always talked about defeating monopolies. And that's all we're seeing. And guess what? You don't see any uprising. Because, again, they're distracted on things that don't matter. They'll tell you about the basketball game, the football game, but they're not going to tell you about anything that actually matters. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, this is definitely America to Babylon 2.0. And we have Walmart warns they will have to raise prices. And remember, it's a 10% tariff. It's not 30. The other 20% is coming from fentanyl. It's only a 10% tariff. Walmart should definitely eat that. They have no business with raising prices. And if you have the NWO book, or if you've been watching my channel from the beginning, you know I've done plenty of videos on Walmart making billions. And at one time, they had the most people on government assistance. Guys, you cannot make this stuff up. It's just unbelievable. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
I even like this term of AI agents. What is an agent? Like, is ChatGPT an agent? Is Grok an agent? What's an agent?
Well, I think if you think about AI when it first came out, really, big on the scene a couple years ago with the ChatGPT moment. This was really a moment when you would talk back and forth with AI systems, and you would ask a simple question, you'd get an answer back, and this was really the point when AI was used as effectively a chatbot or an assistant type use case. What was very quickly, I think, discovered and realized amongst the ecosystem was when you take these powerful models, and certainly as they get better, faster, cheaper, and more capable, you'll be able to send them long-running tasks to go work on and then come back to you with a complete solution, a complete answer, or ultimately execute a project for you.
Which is
that's now what AI agents are.
So Gemini, I'm sure you've used all of these different tools and platforms. Yep. Gemini is kind of like that with deep research, right? Like I can say to it, give me the full history of, blah, blah, blah. I leave for 4 minutes. I come back and it's written a research report. So this is the kind of tool, I assume we're talking about enterprise customers pretty much. So let's say I'm doing work at my desk. I'm asking Box for a query. Now, does this relate to the data sets that I would kind of have you housing, or is this kind of broader than that? What kind of things might I ask it? How long would it take? What kind of answers would I get?
Yeah, so we announced a set of agents to do things like deep research, general search across all of your data, and then data extraction agents. And so each of them have different use cases, but just focusing on deep research for a second, this is the ability to say, okay, I have a collection of assets in my enterprise, contracts, marketing assets, research documents, financial materials, and I want to have the AI go and read through all of that data and come to some type of conclusion or generate some type of report or analysis on that information. So you can imagine if you're a bank, you want to give an AI system 1,000 documents on a company that is looking to be acquired to do due diligence on that company. The AI will now go through all of that data, all of those documents through the lens of doing a due diligence project, and then be able to come back with a finalized report on that information. And so you can imagine really being able to go and send off AI agents across your business to go execute on this long tail of tasks that otherwise you maybe never got around to, or it was too expensive to go and do before. AI is now making that.
They are also benefiting from the growing interest in shooting game in China. They also start incorporating AI in their game developments. The big competitive games such as Peacekeeping League that benefit most from the incorporation of AI. They are using AI to coach the new gamers so they can accompany the more experienced gamer. They are also using AI to prevent hacking as well as cheating.
You want to weigh in on the plane?
No, but I do want to say it's such classic activity by an individual like President Trump, who has been incredibly artful using the media. And it's this political dynamic. The more you spend time on that plane,
wasting time talking about the plane,
right? The more you spend time on that plane, the stronger he gets in terms of people saying, "You see, this is what the media is about. They can't get enough of it. Clicks and eyeballs. Why aren't we paying attention to this incredible amount of economic development activity that's going on in the Gulf right now?" With
right, but see, I would say the opposite. I would think, though, that he would want everybody focused on exactly that, the development and economic growth and deals that are being made in the Middle East. And instead, people are sitting around talking about the propriety or not, or national security issues around a plane.
You are talking about that. I don't think most people are talking about that, but the people that are paying attention to this conflict, and that's what drives viewership. I don't have to tell you, it's your business. That's what has been so artful on his part. He's got now even more support because, of course, the media is not focused on what's really important, which is the geopolitical aspect of where he is today, the economic and trade aspects of where he is today.
And Warren Buffett's firm filing its 13F. This is as of the end of March, this quarter. During that quarter, Berkshire Hathaway is selling down its exposure to big banks, unloading its entire billion-dollar stake in Citi and paring back B of A by more than 7% and Capital One by 4% in the quarter. Berkshire Hathaway also doubled its stake in Constellation
Tokenization Brands and Pool Corp, and increased its exposure to Domino, so perhaps a little bit of a consumer increase there, and Heiko as well. Its stake in T-Mobile declined by about 11% in the quarter.
And today we got new numbers showing just how few Americans can now afford to buy a home. Diana Olick is here with the latest, and it sounds like it's time for the 40-year mortgage, Diana.
Yeah, maybe, Kelly. Look, we all know both home prices and mortgage rates are high, but the change in who can afford to own a home in just the past 6 years is pretty stunning. A new report out today measures affordability for buyers using a 30-year fixed mortgage and putting 30% of their income into the monthly payment, including mortgage, property tax, and insurance. That is the share lenders like. Now, just to start, the median household income in the U.S., or dual income, is about $78,000 a year. So know that for the start. Now, for those earning between $75,000 and $100,000 a year, which would be middle to upper income, just 21% could afford to buy a home in March. Compare that to 49% who could afford it in 2019. Now, in a so-called balanced market between buyer and seller, that group should be able to afford 48% of all listings. But given the current supply of homes for sale, very low, the market would need roughly 416,000 more listings priced at or below $255,000 to be a balanced market. Now, for those earning below $75,000 annually, the market is even less supplied. A home buyer with a salary of $50,000 could afford barely 9% of available listings. Now, in 2019, they could have afforded 28%. Higher income households have near total access to the housing market. Home buyers earning $250,000 or more can afford at least 80% of home listings. So good for them.
I spoke with Dick's Sporting Goods executive chairman Ed Stack. He's also the son of the founder of the company, about the retailer's deal to buy Foot Locker. Ed Stack told me, look, it gives us a much deeper relationship with the key brands that we do business with: Nike, Adidas, On Running, all of them. And that footwear is the engine that pulls the train for Dick's Sporting Goods.
And Walmart, the world's largest retailer, is issuing a new warning today, warning the company will have to raise prices due to President Trump's tariffs. The company's CEO, Doug McMillon, is expected to tell analysts this on an earnings call today. I'll read you a quote as they sent out excerpts ahead of time. "We will do our best to keep our prices as low as possible, but given the magnitude of the tariffs, even at the reduced levels announced this week, we aren't able to absorb all the pressure given the reality of narrow retail margins."
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box, provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe
This technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books, is time to re-educate. Also, if new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance, do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Team save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Team save New York from COVID 33. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Team goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.